Welcome back. We've got a great privilege, no stranger to the 700 Club Canada, Dr. Keis, and just a wonderful brother and friend. He's got a new book out, and it's called The Quest for Purpose, and we get an opportunity to find out what that purpose is today. Ken, what a privilege. Last time that we had a chance to catch up, you not only coach Fortune 500 companies, not only do you get an opportunity to help people understand a little bit more of their dynamics. We talk about the different diagnostics that you do.
Yes.
And tell us, how many books have you written?
Well, this is going to be my fourth that I've
Yes.
finished, and there's a couple more that are in the works right now.
Oh my goodness, I don't know how you find the time to do all the things that you do. Plus, you just also have been ordained as a pastor as well.
Yes, I did, and finished my doctorate degree just a couple of years ago as well. So you know what? You have to love learning. That's what life's about, is to be able to engage and be challenged and move forward.
Well, you know what? That's one of the things that I really appreciate about you, because you never stop. It's not like you get to a point where you say, I've done enough and then I'm ready to pull back. And it's really about purpose. I remember with Rick Warren and the Purpose Driven Church, and he was talking, and now he's on the YouTube, and he's got the Purpose Network. Tell us, why did you write this book, and what was the inspiration behind that?
Well, interesting enough, I went through this journey myself 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
My grade 9 English teacher told me that I would never amount to anything because I couldn't read or write. When I was doing my master's degree, they discovered that I was dyslexic. So here I have now authored 3.5 million words of content in 4 books.
Yes.
So if I can do it, somebody else can do it. But my journey is I wanted to know, what did God create me for?
Yeah.
Yes, we have the Great Commission, but every single person watching this show, God has created you for a specific purpose. So my purpose is to help others to find theirs and to live theirs.
And no matter what the limitation is, no matter what the label is, and no matter what they have called, because you said dyslexic, and then you found out while you're doing a master's degree?
Well, there was this great, yes, exactly. There was this great thing created called Microsoft Word, and it underlined all the red words.
Yes.
And that's why I struggled with language. Now, verbally, I could have a communication and verbal with you.
Sure.
But writing, I would misspell words, I don't understand grammar, and so it doesn't really matter, right?
Yes. So it doesn't matter what they label you, you can move on with your purpose, and your purpose is greater than your problems.
Absolutely, always.
So when you look at this, the quest for purpose, because I love that. The quest means it's something that you're actually going after. Talk to us about some simple things, because I know someone's got their antennas up and they're saying, you know what, I've got a limitation as well, but I believe God put something so deep within me that it is burning to get out. How do we start to open that up and realize?
Well, first of all, we have to believe we're not an accident.
Okay.
And if we think about it, if God has created all of us equally, then all of us have a call. All of us have a purpose. So my responsibility is to discover what that is. The sad part, Brian, is that the stats around the world, there was a study of 142 countries.
Yeah.
90% of people dislike what they do, from mildly irritated to loathe.
90%?
90%. So how could I contribute at the highest level? How can I bring my best? This is not about self-centeredness. This is about self-honoring, is that you have a process or a part to play in his kingdom. And maybe it's being a doctor, maybe it's driving a bus, maybe it's being a TV host like you are, or an author, a writer, an encourager, and trainer as I do. So each of us need to find what that slot is.
Yeah, and it's 10,000 hours to be good at anything, right? 64,400, that's the amount of seconds we have in a day. And we don't get any more tomorrow, or we don't get more tomorrow than we had yesterday. But when you're talking about this purpose, Ken, how do we begin to now unlock that purpose?
Well, number one, there's the attitude of, I need to be willing to do the work. So finding purpose takes effort, takes responsibility. Is that if I don't find it, do I just show up tomorrow and just do the same thing over and over again? I remember having lunch with Dr. Richard Bowles, who wrote the book, What Color's Your Parachute?
Yeah.
And I said, why are so many people still lost? And he says, because they aren't willing to invest in themselves. I remember a student here at Trinity, where we're filming, we talked about an assessment, and we have a whole array of assessments that help people to get clear about who they are.
Tons of things. You're talking about personal style indicator, you're talking about value preference indicator. This is what I appreciate about you, because you don't necessarily just share the word, but what you do is you drill down and begin to give the tools
Well, one of the things we're doing is we're giving people pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
A lot of times they want the whole puzzle all at once. Nobody does a puzzle just like that. They take one piece at a time, slot it in, be able to create this picture of their life. So the same thing with the student. The student wasn't willing to invest $50 in assessments, but he would go out to the movies that weekend, have popcorn, have a drink, and spend all of that on entertainment.
Okay.
So we need to be able to invest in ourselves. The other one is you need a roadmap. And one of the reasons I wrote the book is there's many books out there, but a lot of these books miss out two critical points. Number one is Christ needs to be the center of it. And number two is I need all these exercises and activities, such as assessments. I also have a whole series of activities you do in the book to be able to discover life leaves clues. Are we paying attention? What are the things that excite you? What are the things that you're passionate about? What are the things that are important to you? What are the things that are peaceful times for you? And so I take you through all these series of activities so that you can journal it to be able to determine who you really are.
Now, that's a big word. As far as journaling, why is that so important, just to have a record of what you're doing?
Well, we have assessments where we help to get clear about who you are, but journal is that only you can validate that you are in the right spot in concert with the Holy Spirit. Only you can do it. I can't tell Brian who Brian is. Only Brian knows that this moment, being a TV host, interviewing individuals from all around the world is fulfilling for you.
Well, you know what I've found is wherever you really feel passion, where you feel alive, that you would do it free no matter if it was, whatever you had to do, that's usually a good indicator. Is this for pastors or churches, or who is this for?
This is for every single person seeking to realize their purpose and optimize their purpose and realize their potential. And one of the things in the book, everybody thinks it's about work. No, that's just one part of it. What about my family? What about my spiritual calling?
Holistic approach.
The holistic approach, everything. We talk about health and wellness. I mean, you have work that you do in that area. If it doesn't matter that I have my purpose in life, if I'm sick and ill and not taking care of myself. There's another one that I have.
So that's investing in you you're talking about.
Absolutely. And it's, can I bring the best energy? And you know the stats. Most people are not well in North America. It's a disaster. So we have to look at all of these pieces to be able to realize our potential.
I'm so excited about this. When you talk about the beginning, the first step, one small step for man, one giant step for mankind. What do you do first?
Well, in here I said, okay, meaning before purpose.
Okay.
So even though this is a secular book, I have my testimony in the book to say, you know what, is Christ the center of it? Because do we believe that I'm an accident, or do I have purpose to be able to serve him? So that's number one. Two, I have two new chapters in this book versus my previous version, mindset as well as character. So you were talking on the show earlier, or your different shows, about forgiveness.
Yes.
I can't live my purpose if I have unforgiveness in my heart. I can't live my purpose if I lack integrity. I can't live my purpose if I don't have an optimistic mindset.
Yes.
All of these things are biblical, but we've just converted those here, and the science supports that. There was another study in here about 24 different characteristics, Brian.
Yes.
And they said, what's the number one characteristic that causes people to have a sense of well-being in this earth? And that was gratitude.
Wow.
What does God talk in his word? That we are to be thankful in all things. The second thing that caused people to have a sense of well-being was the love of learning. We're supposed to seek his face, right? So Matthew talks about, come seek me, seek the kingdom. That's not a passive tense, that's an active tense.
That's purpose.
So I need to be able to look and get more information and do the learning. And as you said, excites me every morning. I have 30 to 90 minutes of podcasts or newsletters that I read to stay up in what I'm doing.
And I find that one of the most valuable things that I do. I have to consume a lot of information and find out just what's happening in the world. I think there's someone right now, and this is The Quest for Purpose, and this is different than a self-help book. Andy Steiger actually had an opportunity to speak on that. Why did you have him in here?
Because Andy he contributed to the chapter, The Meaning Before Purpose. And so Andy really talked about it. We are in a purposed, confused culture. People really don't know who they're supposed to be. I have individuals, I've coached many individuals, and it's interesting, I have in a secular environment. So part of what's occurred is these people don't know Jesus. And as a result of the coaching is that they will accept Christ as part of my coaching calls.
Fantastic. Could you talk to somebody right now as we close out in these moments and just pray for that purpose to come alive?
You know, I just want to speak to everybody that's viewing this. No matter what anybody has said, no matter what the enemy has maybe tried to put into your mind, is you are valuable, you are worthy, and God has created you for a contribution. Maybe it's the best mother in the world. Maybe it's the best janitor in the world. Whatever it is, I just pray, Lord, right now that you would open their heart, that you would open their eyes, but also that each one of us would take responsibility to listen to your spirit, to look, to grab the tools, the resources, to be able to live that life on purpose, to be able to have that quest, to be actively and intentionally doing it. I just pray for them and that they would release all fear, all hindrances, so that they would be able to contribute at the highest level, which is the greatest amount of fulfillment for each one of us. In your name.
In Jesus' name. Well, Doctor, Pastor, much appreciated. You know, I look forward to our next conversation. You know, that's purpose. You were designed with a purpose, and your birth is the identification that God called you on this planet to accomplish something. Why don't you get on with that purpose? You need some help? 1-855-759-0700. Prayer partners are standing by. We'll be right back.